in MDG, okay? So first let's understand what is data replication. So replication is nothing but a copy, like replica of a data we want to send to other systems or any other SAP system or other system. If we want to send data, we use the replication method, okay? So in MDG, uh, for data replication, we need to configure the replication model. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so why we need to do the replication is, so let's assume you like the client is having the hub system, okay, and if you want to send the data like governed data to other system, then we have to do the data replication, okay. So to do that, we need a data replication model for our system, okay. So that data replication configuration we do in the T code DRF IMG, okay. So for replication, we can do the replication using different methods. So we have different methods like we can do the replication using file transfer or RFC or OData like web services or SOA manager. Okay, this is nothing but SOAP services. Okay, so we can do the replication using any of this technique. So here for each of this we need a replication model. Let me go to this. So this is the DRF IMG T code. So in this, we'll configure the replication model. Okay. So here we have data replication. Under data replication, we have defined custom settings for data replication. Okay. Under the define custom settings for data replication, we have defined technical settings. So here in the technical settings for business system, we need to maintain the business system here. Okay. So let's say we have hub system. So this one IDOC, sorry, this one IDOC. File transfer, RFC, IDOC or SOAP services we can use for data replication. Okay. So let's assume we have a hub system for MDG. Okay. MDG system. So we are using hub system. This is, let's take MD1 system. Okay. And also we have normal SAP system, that is SD1. Okay. So this system, this MD1 system is responsible for the master data governance. Okay. And this SD1 system will be used for all transactional data. like all transactions or for all those purpose, this SAP system will be used. Okay. So now in MDG system, we are doing the governance of the master data. Okay. So this governed master data, we need to send to other systems as well, right? So we need, like, if let's say we are creating one BP in the MD1 system. Okay. This BP is customer. Okay. So now if you want to do any transactions here in the SD1 system, that is SAP system, we need this customer, right? Let's say this is customer C1. Okay. So we need the customer here for transactions purpose. So this customer which is created in the MD1 system has to be replicated to SD1 system. So this process we call it as data replication. Okay. Not only BP customer, each master data has to be replicated to the respective systems where we need the master data for transactional purposes. Okay. So for that we use the, for configuration of the replication model, we use DRF-IMG. Okay. So in DRF-IMG, we need to define the business system. So business system is nothing but the system which we want to replicate the data. Okay. So here using this new entries, we can define the business system. Okay. So here I am going to the new entry, and here we need to give the business system, like the target system to which we want to do the replication. So here business system I am giving SD1. Okay. SD1. Okay. So, let me go to any for help. Okay. So error I am getting here. Okay. So here we need to give the logical system. So let me check if we have any logical system. Okay. So here we have S4H client 800 system. Okay. I'm just giving this system. So that means we want to do the replication from A4H system to S4H system. Okay. And here we need to give the RFC destination as well. So the RFC destination will be S4H client 800. Okay. So next, so here if we want to enable it, we need to do like we need to keep it as blank. If we want to do, disable the replication, we can just click on this checkbox. Okay. Now I am just saving this business system. Okay. Okay. Now the business system has been defined here. Now this business system. So what data you want to send? You want to replicate from A4H 800 client to S4H client 800 system. Which type of data you want to replicate? That also we have to define. Okay. So here in this define business system and business objects, here we need to define the business object type. Okay. So new entry and business object type. So this business object type is nothing but we already discussed, right? In data modeling and in UI modeling, every process of configuration of MDG, we'll be using the business object type. So that business object type you need to maintain here. So let's say we want to replicate the supplier data. Then we need to give the business object type as 266. Okay, 266 I have given. Next, we need to give the communication channel. Okay, so for this business object type, what is the communication channel? That is nothing but which type of replication you want to use for this business object type replication. Okay, so here in this communication channel, here we need to maintain the communication channel information. Okay, so I'm going to new entry. So this is for which business system, which business object type you want to use, which channel you want to use for the data replication, we need to define here. Okay, so here the communication channel, it will be, if you want to do the replication via services, that is soap service or any other service, you can use this via services. And if you want to do the replication via idoc, you can put this replication via idoc. And if we want to do the replication using file transfer, we can put this option. And if we want to do the replication using RFC, then we can use this option. Okay, so now I'll just use replication via RFC. Okay, next, these all information not defined, key harmonization not defined, and harmonized IDs, no key mapping, key mapping. This is like, um, if we put no key mapping, then it will directly take the numbers directly in the system, the target system. If we put the key mapping, it will check for the key mapping and then it will replicate that key mapping values to the business system. Okay. So for now, I'm giving just not defined. And I'm just saving this information. So now for my business system S4H, for business object type 266, I have defined the communication channel. Okay. Now, so if you want to replicate the data between A4H system to S4H system, if you want to replicate the supplier data, we can replicate it using the RFC function. Okay. If you want to change this replication like communication channel, we can change it here. Okay. So now after defining this, we need to define the technical, we need to create one replication model. Okay. So here the replication models. So let me create one new replication model. Okay. So here replication model, I will give any, I'll give just MDG. Okay. Description MDG replication. Okay. So this is for the data model BP. Supplier we have given it. So that's why I'm using BP. Okay. Now enter and we have to activate this one. Okay. Okay. So for this replication model, we need to define the outbound implementation. Okay. So outbound implementation is nothing but for each type of master data, we'll be having the outbound implementation as well. So we need to check for the supplier now. Yeah. So okay, 1 minute. Mm. So if we want to use the services communication channel, we can use this 986 underscore 3. Okay. So if we want to do the replication via IDOC, we can put this 986 underscore 4 for vendor 4, and for customer we can put 5. Okay. So now, mm, so let's change that. Now let me use this 9863. So underscore 3 is the latest version, right? So we used underscore 3 here, okay? And here the sequence is nothing but, like, if we define multiple outbound implementations for the same replication model, like what's the sequence we wanted to do, that sequence we can maintain here, okay? And here the communication channel, this is for replication via services, okay? So first, okay. So now let me save this one. Okay. Now we have one outbound implementation. And for this outbound implementation, what's the target system we need to maintain? Okay. So here, new. So the business system we have used is S4H CLE 800, right? So the same one. Let me check here. So this is the business system we created, right? S. So that business system we need to give here. Okay. So now I'm just saving it. So the in the previous, like, we have created the business system, right? So that business system we need to maintain here. Now for this business system, we need to check the outbound parameter. Okay. So the outbound parameter values also will be having here. Okay. So for this outbound implementation, what's the outbound parameter available? That is package size bulk. Okay. So this we need to give and enter. Now save it. Okay. So now what we did, first we have define one business system for replication. Okay. This all will be done in the DRF IMG. Okay. First define one business system for replication. And in this business system, what we give? The business system name, which we want to create in our system, and the logical system. That is nothing but the target system. Okay, or target system, and the RFC destination. Okay, so this information we need to give, and after that, for this business system, we need to define the business object type. Okay, so which type of business object type we need to uh, use for the replication. Okay, then we need to define communication channel. Okay, so this is nothing but using which communication channel you want to do the replication, like file transfer or RFC or via services or via ALE or IDOC. Okay, so we need to define the communication channel for the business system and business object type. After that, we need to define the replication model. Okay, so we need to define the replication model, and in this replication model, we need to assign the outbound implementation. Okay, so this replication model we need to give the replication model name. Okay, and description and the data model. Okay, next we need to define for this replication model, we need to define the outbound implementation. Okay, so this outbound implementation we need to give like which type of master data implementation we want to do. Okay, so those all for all the standard data, the outbound implementation will be available. So we need to choose according to our requirement. Okay, next for this outbound implementation, we need to define the assign the target system. Okay, so this is nothing but the business system which we defined in this step. Okay, so here let's say the business system we have defined is S4H. Okay, so here in the assign target system, we need to give S4H. Okay, next for this target system, we need to assign the outbound parameter. Okay, so for this S4H, we need to define the outbound parameter. So let's say this data model, we have selected BP, and the replication model S4H underscore replication. Okay, so here the outbound implementation 986 underscore 3. So now assign outbound parameters. So for this outbound implementation, whatever the outbound parameters available in the system, it will give in the F4 help. Okay, so we can choose from the F4 help button and we can give it. So for now, tag bulk size we have for 9863. Okay, so this is the data replication framework design. So we have to define the data replication framework using the DRF IMG transaction. Okay, so now we have a replication model defined here. Okay, so now we can use this replication model for the data replication. Okay, so how we do the replication? Using the DRF out T code. Okay, so DRF out T code is used to do the replication. DRF out. So here we can put the replication model which we have created. So let's select values found. We have saved it, right? Okay. This one, save, activate. Okay. Now it is activated. Now here, if I go to the DRF out, now I can see the replication model here. So MDG and the outbound implementation, just we have defined only one outbound implementation, right? So it will give only one. Now, if you want to replicate different master data, you need to define the different outbound implementations in your replication model. Okay. For now, we have defined this 9863. So this one. And after selecting the replication model and the outbound implementation, if you want to do all replication at a time, you can use directly, you can execute the data replication. Or if you want to replicate only just few of the records, then you can go to this manual replication filter criteria, and here we can give the business partner number which we want to replicate. We can give single business partner number, or we can replicate multiple business partners using here the multiple option here. Okay, so we can give whatever the business partner we want to replicate, we can give here in the filter criteria. Okay, and after that, the filter criteria we can put based on the business partner or company code, business partner role, or any of these available criteria we can use. Okay, so after that, we can click on the execute button. Then if we click on the execute button, the data will be replicated to the respective business systems, like the target systems. Okay. So any doubts till now?
No, Sadhana.
Okay. So this is how we define the replication model. Okay. Now for each replication type, like ALE, IDOC, or RFC, or file transfer, or services, the process will be different. Now, if we use the SUA service, then we have to define the SUA service as well. Okay. And if we want to use the IDOC, then we have to define the message type, and like IDOC message type, and all those information also we need to maintain. And if we want to do just the RFC, using the RFC, just we can use one RFC function module, and we can use that. Okay, so that if we want to use the RFC method, then we have to uh, have the connection, RFC connection between the systems, and we have to have one remote function module in the target system, and we have to use that remote function module in our MDG system, and using that remote function we can replicate the data. Okay. So what is that remote function is? SC37 is for the function modules. Okay. So let me open any C star. Okay. Test BTE we have display. Okay. So now here in the attributes, so function module is nothing but a reusable object. Okay. So this reusable object function module can be of type three different types. It can be regular function module, or it can be remote enabled function module, or it can be update module. Okay. So if you want to use this function module in other system, then we can create it as remote enabled function module. Then we can use this function module, like we can use this function module to call do a call between different systems. Okay. So like that we do the RFC replication. So now for today, uh, like we have discussed about the replication model and the data replication process, right? So what you all have to do is try to explore the replication concept. Okay. So and note down what is the difference between uh, normal web services and SUA services. Okay. So just do a work around about the web services, like what are all the web services we have, why we need a web service, and what is the difference between normal web service and SUA web service. Okay. Like RESTful web service, different web services we have. So try to understand the difference between different web services and make a document. Okay. So that you can understand why we need services for replication and all those. Okay.